Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank you for being here. I'm Kevin Smith, Assistant Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid at GSAP. And I'd like to start off by saying congratulations to all of you on your admission to the Graduate School of Architecture, Planning, and Preservation. This was an incredibly competitive year, and acceptance is just a testament to your talent, vision, and potential really in shaping the future of the built environment. Today's session, we're going to be speaking about financing your education. Joined by my colleagues, Michaela Jaffrard and Marion Casillo, two of our esteemed financial aid officers. And so they're going to be taking us through a presentation. We'll be spending a lot of time speaking about federal financial aid and just ways of of financing your education. We will have plenty of time for questions at the end. So throughout the presentation, please feel free to put any questions you have into the chat, and that'll give us the opportunity to address anything that comes up. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and turn things over to Michaela. Michaela.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Today's presentation, we're going to go over different financial aid resources, financial wellness, and hopefully, if you do decide to come to Colombia, we welcome you and that you will have for a good understanding of how exactly you will be able to finance your time here. So let's get started. So, just a brief overview on what we're going to go through today. So, we're going to go over the general cost of attendance, what entails, types of financial aid, including federal aid and private loans, scholarships, other funding options. We'll go over payment information, such as when exactly the bill is due, how you would pay, that sort of thing. And then lastly, just other financial resources, financial wellness information that may be of use to you. So, what exactly does the cost of attendance entail? So, your cost of attendance is a representation of school-related financial expenses that you'll have while you are here at Columbia. It will include your direct expenses and your indirect expenses. So, your direct expenses being the tuition, the fees, medical insurance, and then indirect expenses will be like living expenses, so food, housing, transportation, personal miscellaneous expenses that you may have whilst you're here. Um, Indirect expenses are an average reasonable cost as it relates to attending is not exactly your direct expenses. So your personal expenses are what you will have whilst you're here, depending on your circumstances. So it can based upon where exactly you live, personal choices that you may have, like if you don't mind eating a cup of noodles every day, or if you go more of like a vegan or a kosher option, um, like what your choices are whilst you're here make up your actual personal expenses. So just as a breakdown of what your cost of attendance entails, so your direct costs will include the tuition, of course, fees, including the university services and support fee, health services fee, the document fee, any course-related fees that you may have, and medical insurance. Just keep in mind that um, if you don't have your own medical insurance, you are required to utilize the university's medical insurance. If you do have your own medical insurance and it is comparable to the university's medical insurance, you do have the option of waiving it with Columbia Health. Indirect costs include, as I mentioned earlier, food and housing, books and supplies, transportation, personal expenses, and then if you're taking out federal loans, it will include the loan origination fee. So both the direct and the indirect costs go towards your cost of attendance, or we also call it your budget for a term or a year, depending on what exactly your your questions are regarding if you decide to call us, what exactly um you're mentioning. Just keep in mind that the cost of attendance is not your bill. That is something that That's a question that we get a lot from students. So they look at the cost of attendance, they see $150,000 and they're like, do I need to pay this entire thing? The answer is no. The amount that you will actually need to pay may vary based upon your circumstances. So your cost of attendance is not your bill. So getting into ways you can cover your cost of attendance items. So one of those options is to utilize federal student aid. So in order to be eligible for federal student aid, you must be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen. I'll get into eligible non-citizen statuses within the next slide. You must have a valid Social Security number. You must be enrolled as a regular student in the eligible degree or certificate programs. So all of GSAP's programs with some exceptions, are eligible for federal student aid. You must be enrolled in at least a half-time status. So 6 credits is considered half-time for GSAP students. You must maintain satisfactory academic progress. And finally, you must complete the FAFSA application. Keep in mind that the FAFSA application is free to complete. Free is in the name of the FAFSA application. If you are going onto a website that is requiring you to pay money to file a FAFSA, you are on the wrong website. So if you do not want to utilize federal aid, you can also utilize other sources of funding, and we'll get into those later on, such as a private loan, a scholarship, some form of employer reimbursement, a sponsorship, a payment plan, or if you are eligible for veterans benefits, military connected benefits through the VA, you're welcome to utilize them here at Columbia. So going more into the eligible non-citizenship status, so there are a couple of groups of individuals that can receive federal student aid if you are not a U.S. citizen or a U.S. national. So if you are neither of those statuses, you must be at least in one of the following 5 statuses in order to be eligible for federal aid. So you can be a permanent resident with the permanent residence card I-551 or I-151 or I-551C. You must be in one of the um, statuses showing refugee, asylum granted, or parolee with an I-94. You must be a holder of a letter of from Health and Human Services with a designation of victim of human trafficking, be a resident of the Republic of Palau, Republic of the Marshall Islands, American Samoa, Sway Islands, or Federated States of Micronesia, and that group of individuals, yes, you are eligible for federal aid, but you're only eligible for Pell, SEOG, and federal work study. Keep in mind that since GSAP is a graduate program, in graduate students are not eligible for Pell or SEOG. So if you're a student within one of those states, then you're only eligible for federal work study of that circumstance. But we don't get too many students under that header. And then the last criteria is either that you are a Canadian-born Native American student with a status under the Jay Treaty of 1794. So, what type of aid can you receive when you file a FAFSA application? So, as mentioned before, graduate students are only eligible for the federal unsubsidized loan and the graduate plus loan. Federal work study is also given to on a first come first served basis to students. In order to complete the FAFSA application, you must log in to studentaid.gov and start a new form or access an existing form, and you must complete the 25-26 FAFSA application. So for any student that is entering on or after the summer 2025 semester, you must complete a 25-26 FAFSA application utilizing your 2023 income information. So students that are in the 1-year program will complete 25-26. That is the only year that you would need to complete the FAFSA since it is a 1-year program utilizing your 2023 income information. The application is currently open, so you are more than welcome to complete it. For students attending the Masters of Architecture program, and I believe there are 2 other 2-year programs as well. Those you would need to complete the FAFSA each year that you intend to utilize federal student aid. So you can utilize The 25-26 FAFSA application, the 26-27 FAFSA application will become available later on in the year, and it must be completed each year. Generally, the application becomes open in October, but as we've seen from previous years, they can open as late as January 1st, depending on uh, federal government regulations and whatnot. So in order to complete the FAFSA, you must utilize our school code. So it is 002707. You must utilize your social security number. Please keep in mind that the name that's on your FAFSA application must match what is on your social security card. And so as I like to tell students, when you are completing your FAFSA application, just make sure that you have your Social Security card on hand so that you can ensure that you're typing in the correct number, the correct name, because it may cause delays in packaging if there's incorrect information listed on your FAFSA. If you are a permanent resident of the United States, you must have your permanent residence number. Sometimes it's called the alien registration number or an A number, but that would be utilized in order to complete your FAFSA. You can have your driver's license, your 2023 tax return or W-2. If you have any other financial records, such as bank statements and investment statements, because the FAFSA does ask for your asset information, and then your FSA ID if you completed a FAFSA in years prior for your undergraduate degree. So going into the types of aid that you can receive. So the federal direct Stafford loan. So it is classified into three loans for students. So the first loan is the unsubsidized loan. The second loan will be the Graduate Plus loan. Those are the two main loans that graduate students will utilize if they utilize federal aid. The third type of loan that a student can receive is the unsubsidized loan, but that's only for certain students within the New York Paris program, since that is not considered a graduate degree. It is a certificate program. So based upon your student aid index, you may be eligible for the federal unsubsidized loan if you are in that New York Paris program. Again, you must be enrolled in at least 6 credits to obtain the loan. You must meet satisfactory academic progress, which that is measured at the end of each semester for GSAP students. And you must complete entrance counseling and master promissory notes through studentaid.gov for any federal loan that you plan to take. Lastly, exit counseling, if you are taking out a federal loan, must be completed. If you are done with your program or if you withdraw completely or dropping below a half-time status. So going into the federal unsubsidized loan, when a student receives their initial offer, this is the loan that they'll see. So it would be the $20,500 federal unsubsidized loan that you'll see on your account. For students that are in the 1-year, 3-semester program, they will see the federal unsubsidized loan totaling $41,000. So it's 20,000 for the summer and the fall semesters total, and then an additional $20,500 for the spring semester. So most graduate students are eligible for up to $20,500 of the federal unsubsidized loan for each academic year. And the total aggregate limit for federal unsubsidized loans will be $138,500 for most students. Um, for the graduate unsubsidized loan, interest begins accruing at the time that loan has dispersed onto your student account, and the interest only accrues on the amount that has been dispersed to the school. So, for example, if you're taking out a $10,250 loan for the fall semester, and you do have interest will begin accruing onto that fall portion of the loan, not the spring portion. So once the spring portion of the loan disperses onto your student account, then the interest will begin accruing onto both the fall and the spring portions of the loan, respectively. Currently, the interest rate for the federal unsubsidized loan is 8.08%. So it will be the interest rate for students that are beginning in the summer that and you decide to take out the federal unsubsidized loan for the summer fall term, that will be your interest rate since the summer term begins in May, which is before that June 30th, 2025 date. For any loans that's dispersed afterwards, the interest rate for those loans has not come out yet. They are usually released sometime in October for the next academic year. Keep in mind also that federal loans do have an origination fee of 1.05% for the federal unsubsidized loan for any loan that's first dispersed between October 1st and October 1st, 2020 and October 1st, 2025. And it is deducted at the time of disbursement. But when you are repaying the loan, you are required to pay back the portion of the loan that has been paid out directly to the school, plus the origination fee plus the interest that has accrued on that loan. So for the Graduate Plus loan, it's also a type of federal unsubsidized loan. So unsubsidized, and I apologize for not including it previously. Unsubsidized means that the interest accrues onto your account while you are in school. The government does not pay the interest. Is unlike a subsidized loan, which the government does pay the interest whilst you are attending school. So the Graduate Plus loan is another type of unsubsidized loan. How the Graduate Plus loan differs from the unsub is that there's no aggregate borrowing limit, so you can take out as much Graduate Plus loan as you want to, provided that you still meet the basic standards for federal aid eligibility. The Graduate Plus loan has a fixed interest rate of 9.08% currently. So for students enrolled in the summer term, if you are taking out a Graduate Plus loan for the summer fall semester, that will be the interest rate for that loan. The interest rate, again, for students beginning in the fall, that has not been released as of yet. The origination fee for the Graduate Plus loan is higher than the unsub at 4.228%. And again, the origination fee is also taken out at the time of disbursement. So since the interest rate for the federal plus loan is much higher than the unsubsidized loan, we would prefer for students, if they do utilize federal loans, to utilize the unsubsidized loan first before utilizing the Graduate Plus loan, as the unsubsidized loan has a lower interest rate, and we would rather for students, just for their own financial wellness, to take out the lower interest rate loan first before they go into a higher interest rate loan. If you have any questions regarding that, you feel free to contact us and we can go over in more detail the plus and minuses of utilizing unsubsidized loan, Graduate Plus loans, and whatnot. So going on to more with the Graduate Plus loan. So since it's not included within the initial packaging of federal aid, you must apply for the Graduate Plus loan with our office. The link to the application is included in this presentation. It's also included on our website, sfs.columbia.edu. Keep in mind that a credit check is also required in order to be eligible for the Graduate Plus loan. So students that are applying for that loan must not have an adverse credit history. But if you do have an adverse credit history and you are denied a Graduate Plus loan, you can always sign on with an endorser or you can appeal the decision with the Department of Ed. If you are granted a Graduate Plus loan after an appeal or an endorser, you must complete adverse credit counseling through studentaid.gov. If you know, and we do have students that know that they will be denied a Graduate Plus loan and they're just unsure of whether they can apply for it, it's best to apply for the loan first, be denied it, and then if you want to do an appeal or add an endorser, you can do so afterwards. But if you know you will be denied, you must still apply for the loan, be denied, and then add an endorser afterwards in order for that loan to still process. So going into adverse credit history, um, there's a lot of students do ask what exactly are the standards for an adverse credit history. So it's not necessarily your credit score. And I understand most of you are young individuals that you don't have much of a credit history or much of a credit report. But there are certain criteria that the Department of Ed does look at for students. So you would not be eligible for the Graduate Plus loan if you are experiencing any one of the following conditions. So if you have a total outstanding balance of greater than $2,085 and that are um, 90 days or more delinquent. If you're in default, bankruptcy, if you're in reposition, um, foreclosure, if you have a write-off or a charge-off, a wage garnishment, or a tax lien. So if that is listed on your credit report, I believe within the past 7 years, then you are not eligible for a Graduate Plus loan under your own credit. You would either need to add an endorser, or if there is a mistake on your credit report, you can always do an appeal. But if you feel that you should be given a Graduate Plus loan, it's always important to just make sure that you're checking your credit. You can get one free credits report a year. Um, I believe that's on freecreditreport.com that you can look at and just review your credit report per year just to make sure that everything is on the up and up before you apply for a Graduate Plus loan. So moving aside from the type of loan, so what type of repayment options are available? So once you take out a loan, the second question is how can I pay this back? I understand that Columbia is a very expensive school, and if you are taking out federal loans, it's going to be a lot of loans that you may need. So there are different types of repayment options currently offered by the Department of Education, and you can review the different options through studentaid.gov. So different types of repayment options include a deferment or a forbearance of the loan, which means that your loan repayments are temporarily postponed based upon your circumstances. So, um, for example, you can go through in-school deferment of your loan. So if you are enrolled in school, you finish your program, but then you enroll in a PhD program, for example, you may be eligible for an in-school deferment. Keep in mind that the interest does not stop accruing onto your loan when you are in deferment or forbearance. It's just you're not required to begin repaying the loan when you're in that status. If you are in repayment of the loan, there are different tiers that you can do. So you can have a standard tier or income-driven repayment option based upon your personal circumstances. So a standard repayment option will take your total amount of the loan that you have taken out and will recalculate your payments once a month for 10 years. So 120 payments that you would need to make in order to pay your loan off. Different types of income-driven payment plans can change your loan amount. So you may have to do 120 payments, but the amount of the loan that you would need to pay back can be lower based upon your income. So more information on that can also be found through studentaid.gov if you're at all interested, or if you want more information regarding a payment plan regarding the federal loans, feel free to contact us. Um, Another tool I would like to highlight, since it's also a nice tool and I've used it for myself personally, is the estimated repayment calculator through studentaid.gov. So it will show you how much loans that you have taken out, what type of repayment plan is best for you, and if you are in like a standard repayment plan, graduated repayment plan, how much you would need to pay monthly with the amount of loans that you have taken out. So moving along from federal loans, since not everyone wants to utilize a federal loan, you can also utilize a private loan option. So there are options available for both domestic and international students. Most private loans do require a credit check or a cosigner in order to be eligible for the loan. Interest rates, fees, and lending repayment terms are based upon the lender, and the rates can be fixed or variable depending on your circumstances and your options for repaying the loan. Just keep in mind too that some lenders do require repayment while you are in school. So if you have any specific questions regarding the terms of a loan with a private loan lender, feel free to contact them and they can give you the rundown on how exactly the terms and repayment options for a loan can go. The maximum amount that a student can borrow may also depend on the lender. So sometimes a lender may allow you to borrow your max cost of attendance. We've had students that ask us for the total cost of attendance for a program, we provide that information out to them, and a lender can give them the max cost of attendance in loan eligibility. But sometimes there are some lenders based upon the student's credit history that may not give them the max, but a lower amount. So if the lender approves you for a lower amount, then that is the amount set by the lender, and we wouldn't be able to disperse anything more than that amount. One other important thing to note is that you do have the right to choose any lender that you want. We do not penalize you for a lender of your choice. Just make sure that if you are doing your own research for a private loan lender, that they're kosher, they're reputable, and at least like you're not getting your money from a loan shark or whatnot. But we don't penalize you where you get the funds from. But if you do have any additional questions regarding private loans, feel free to contact us. So here is just a suggested list of some private loan lenders that students at Columbia utilize. So for domestic students, they are eligible for loans such as from Citizens Bank, College Ave, Earnest, Graphite Advance. I believe that's one's also called the New Hampshire lending, Empower, Prodigy, Sally Mae, and SoFi. So the list is not exhaustive, but these are just some common ones that students at the school utilize. Um, but if you are an international student and you have a U.S. cosigner, you are more than welcome to utilize any of these lenders that are on the list. Just keep in mind that the cosigner must be a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, 18 years or older. So for international students, especially if they don't have a cosigner, their options for utilizing a private loan are pretty limited. There are two lenders that will grant aid out to students without a cosigner. So that is Empower and Prodigy. Just keep in mind that if you don't have a U.S. cosigner, the interest rates for the loans can be as high as 20%. So if you are able to obtain a cosigner, that's probably your best option, where you can get a loan with a lower interest rate since you do have that U.S. cosigner. But if you're unable to, and that is your only course of option, you're more than welcome to utilize either one of those two lenders that's listed here. But again, you're not suggested to the lenders that are on this list. If you do your own research and you find another lender that will give a loan out to international students, you are more than welcome to utilize that. Some students have also utilized loans from their home country in order to finance their time here as well. So what is exactly the difference between a federal loan and a private loan? That's a question I also get from students a lot. They're like, I'm eligible for both a federal loan, but I can utilize a private loan. What's the plus and minuses for that? So for federal loans, just keep in mind they may have a higher interest rate than some private loan lenders. But for private loans, the interest rates can be fixed or variable depending on the type of loan that you want. The federal loans have an origination fee that is taken out at the time of disbursement. Most private loans do not have an origination fee. So if you request a $10,000 loan from a lender, for the most part, that is the amount that will be dispersed onto your student account. Repayment of federal loans begins 6 months after completion of the program withdrawal, or if you drop below full time. So you have that 6 month grace period, as it's called. The grace period may vary between private loan lenders. Some may not have a grace period. Others may have a grace period up to 9 months after you graduate or drop. So it may depend on the lender. Um, you can defer your federal loans. Most private loan lenders don't allow you to defer, but you may be able to, depending on the lender, you may just need to fill out additional paperwork um, with with the lender in order to be eligible for deferment. Federal loans, you can also consolidate them. So consolidate meaning taking all of your federal loans that you have taken out into just one single loan with one interest rate. So if that consolidating a loan is easier for you, you can do that with federal loans. You can't federally consolidate private loans. Um, there's no prepayment penalty for a federal loan. So if you are employed and you want to start paying off your loans early, even while you are in school, You're not penalized for paying off a loan. Some private loan lenders do have a penalty if you decide to make a payment outside of the repayment option. And just keep in mind too that both loans, the Graduate Plus loan and private loan, are approved based upon your credit history. So a private loan may take a look at your credit score. Keep in mind the Graduate Plus loan does not take a look at your credit score, but if you are in adverse credit history. So moving along from the loans, I understand that's a lot of information. Um, For students that are eligible for federal aid, you have the potential to be eligible for federal work study based upon your student aid index and if there are any federal work study funds available. Keep in mind that to be eligible for a federal work study fund, you must be enrolled in at least 6 credits, meet satisfactory academic progress, you must display financial need. So based upon your student aid index, you may be eligible for the loan. It's not loan, sorry, federal work study funds, and you may earn up to $4,000 per an academic year. So there are some GSAP programs which the maximum limit for federal work study is $3,000 for an academic year. If you're unsure, please contact our office. But lastly, if you are if you are interested in utilizing federal work study, you must indicate that on your FAFSA application. It's a little box. You just check that off that says you are interested in federal work study. Um, Speaking from personal experience, federal work study is, if you're able to get it, it is a wonderful experience. I started off as a student worker long, long ago, um, under the federal work study program. So, if you are, it's a good opportunity to utilize the funds in order to pay for stuff that you don't, that you need, stuff that you want, and it's not a loan. So you receive a paycheck, you don't need to pay those monies, those monies back to the federal government. That money is yours to keep. So processing time for any federal funding. If you decide to utilize a federal loan, just keep in mind that it may take 10 days from the time that we receive your FAFSA application and receive all required documentation from you, provided that you're not selected for verification in order for us to receive payment for those federal loans. So they may take some time to process and then disperse onto your student account. Private loan lenders may also take some time in order from the time you apply for the loan to the time that that loan has dispersed onto your student account. Um, it timelines around 2 weeks or so for private loans. Some lenders may take a little longer. Empower is one of those lenders that may take longer than the 2 week period in order to disperse a loan. So just keep in mind that it's not instantaneous. The time you apply for a loan to the time that is dispersed onto your student account. So it may take some time. That is why it's also important if you are if you are selected for federal verification or institutional verification from us, if we do send you emails, and I understand Columbia sends a lot of emails out to students and people don't like looking at emails, but if you see an email from Student Financial Services or Student Financial Planning, please take a look at that because it does include important information regarding your account, even regarding like how your loans will disperse, or even if you have a financial hold or just the balance on your account. If you see emails from our office, please take a look at those. So going into external scholarship options, there are students who also ask me, what other funding options? I don't want to utilize a loan. I can't utilize a loan due to my religious beliefs or so on and so forth. So there are options listed on our website. So our SFS website does include a link to some databases that you can review in order to utilize external funding options. We also have some international funding options as well. One website I would like to highlight is the Columbia iGrad page. That website, it is very helpful for reviewing external scholarship options for students and not just external scholarship options, but also financial wellness options, which that we will take a look at later on in the presentation. So how exactly will you go about in paying this? So one thing that you can utilize is also the university payment plan, which you can go onto your student account and apply for a payment plan there. You can make a payment from your own personal account, or you can also authorize someone to become an authorized user in order to make payments onto your student account upon your behalf. So the type of plans that are available out to students is a term plan. So if you enroll for like a summer specific plan or a fall specific plan, that is $30 to enroll as a one-time payment to enroll in the plan. Um, but then you can make payments onto your student account once a month um, in order to help cover the balance. You can also enroll in an annual plan. So if you are enrolled in a fall spring semester, for example, and you just want to enroll in the payment plan one time, you can do that, and then you're charged each semester, not each semester, each month for your remaining balance on the plan. So the types of payment plans are that are available depends upon the date that you are enrolled in the plan. So I understand the graphic on the right, the dates are from 2023, but the type of the plan still remains the same based upon when you enroll. So the earlier you enroll in the plan, the less of a down payment that you would need to make in order to enroll in the plan. So for example, the earliest payment plan is a 0% down payment plan, which is available basically from the time that your bill is released to the time that you're almost enrolled in school. So when you enroll in that plan, you only pay the $30 enrollment fee. And then the next installment of the plan, which will be um, from that, I think that based upon the dates of that, it will be in August or so. You'll just make 20% of your total balance, and then each installment is 20%. The next, after that date, when that plan closes, the next plan that becomes available is a 20% down payment plan, which you will pay the enrollment fee of the $30, but then you would need to also make a 20% down payment of your total balance when you enroll in the plan. And then the remaining payments that you would make from September to December is are the remaining 20% of your total balance. So each month you're paying off 20% of your total balance. So if you do have any questions regarding enrolling in a payment plan or any issues when you do enroll in a payment plan, you can always contact the Student Service Center for additional assistance. So for the term statement schedule, so for students that are coming in for the summer term, and this is an accurate date. It is currently listed on our website. You will receive your initial bill on June 6th. So payment for that term must be received by July 10th. And then if you haven't made your payment for the summer semester by that July 10th date, you will receive a second bill for payment due on August 7th. So just keep in mind that those are the dates that you would need to be aware of in order to make a payment onto your student account and not be in arrears with the university. For the fall semester, the exact date of the bill to be released has not been released out to us as of yet, but is generally released in August um, with payment needed by the end of the add drop period. So that would be sometime mid to late September for the fall semester. For students that have not paid in bill or are not enrolled in the payment plan, they will receive a statement once a month until that bill is paid in full, and you'll also be assessed a late payment charge. So if you haven't paid your bill by the end of that add drop period, the first late payment charge is $150 for students. And then for each month that you haven't paid off the bill is 1.5% of your total balance that you will be assessed. Similarly, for the spring semester, the bill will be released in December for payment due at the end of add drop in January. And they similarly, again, you will be sent a bill each month that you haven't paid your your bill, and you will be assessed a late payment charge. So it is important to just make sure if you are utilizing federal aid or a private loan, just to be on top of your requirements to just make sure that you're not assessed the late payment charges. So here's an example of what your bill may look like. So this is just a PDF copy of what you may see on SSOL. So your bill will show the amount that's due, and then it will also show you the bill due date that's listed on there. So for the first bill, the due date listed in this example was September 20th, 2023. So the date that the bill is due will always be listed on to the payment bill that you receive. So now for the fun stuff. So if you have taken out federal or private loan and all of your aid exceeds your direct tuition and fee expenses that's listed on your bill, you are eligible for a refund. So how are the refunds dispersed? For most students, they won't receive their refunds until after the start of the term, and missing documents may delay receiving a refund. For students that are receiving a scholarship from GSAP, generally your refund again will not occur until after the start of the term based upon when exactly your institutional funding will disperse onto your student account. Just keep in mind that GSAP does wait until the end of add drop to disperse your scholarship onto your account in the case that you make changes to your enrollment or decide to drop out from the program or whatnot. So that's the reason why. If you are eligible for a refund, just keep in mind that it is best to sign up for direct deposit through SSOL Virtual system, as that's like the fastest way to receive your refund. Otherwise, you'll receive a check in the mail, and it's possible that it can get lost, and then that leads into further headaches because if you need to pay rent, and you've received a check in the mail, that's just going to delay everything by a couple more weeks. So it is highly advised that you sign up for direct deposit through SSOL. If you have any questions in signing up for direct deposit, feel free to contact our office, feel free to contact the Student Service Center, and we're more than happy to guide you through how you will be able to sign up for direct deposit there. So the timeline for refunds may take up to 2 weeks from the time that the funds have been placed onto your student account to the time that they go onto your bank account. So the time may be extended based upon like peak period time. So if it's like the first week of the semester and you have a refund on your account, it may take a little longer for the refund to be issued out to you since there's a lot of students asking for refunds at the same time. And our accounts and business management team are like they're doing the best that they can in processing all students' requested refunds at the same time. So just like, practice patience and like we understand you need the funds for rent, but it is a process that does take some time in order for a refund to be sent out to a student. Let me see. So if you have not received your refund, you can contact our office and then we can see if we can request for it to be pushed out manually, or we can review you for your specific circumstances. Maybe it's possible that you're selected for federal verification, or if there's something that is preventing a refund to be issued out to you at that time. So, as mentioned previously, it does take some time for a refund to be issued out to you. So that's why saving is very, very important. It is important to begin saving in advance. We recommend having at least 1 to 2 months of living expenses. Like, everyone needs to eat. You need a roof over your head. It's very important. So at least save 1 to 2 months of living expenses prior to your time coming at Columbia. I understand it. Like that may be difficult for some students, and I completely understand. But if you're able to at least save maybe if not a full month, then maybe just a couple of weeks or so until you're able to receive your refund, then that may help some of the burden that you may have whilst waiting for your federal funds to come in, federal private loan funds to come in. So going into more of the saving and financial wellness of things. So you do have control over your finances. It's important that you have control over your finances. Columbia is a very, very expensive school. New York is a very expensive place to live in. So um, it is more than important to just make sure that any refunds that you may have, any funds that you may receive, that you're spending them wisely on things that you need, and that you're also just monitoring even to remain on the educational side of things, your student account, just to make sure that, you're not having any late payments onto your account, that that you don't have a hold. If you are experiencing any financial hardships, please contact our office, and we can see how we can help to alleviate those issues that you may be facing. Or if we are unable to help you directly, we can give you the resources that you need to assist you, or direct you to another office that may be able to assist you better than we can. So just going more into the dimensions of financial well-being, it is important. Financial literacy is indeed very important. So, just knowing how to make good financial decisions, open up a bank account, US bank account if you haven't done so, just making sure that your account is in good standings, and you're not, how to put this night's sleep. This not like, living on the streets or anything like that. But again, if you're having burdens on everything, just like feel free to contact us and we'll see how we can best help you. So one last thing I wanted to point out, and as I mentioned earlier, was the Columbia iGrad page, which, yes, it is the page that lists information regarding scholarships that you can take a look at, external scholarships, but it's also a useful tool in order to understand financial literacy. So it will give you videos, documents that you can read on how you can manage your money, budget accordingly, save for personal expenses, like emergency expenses. I understand, like, we all have plans, and emergencies are unfortunately a part of life. So it's very important to just plan, budget accordingly. iGrad can help you utilize that. It will also give you tools on credit and debit management, savings, banking, financial institutions that you can utilize. Like if you're on campus and you need a US bank account in order to receive a direct deposit refund, there are several Chase banks all around campus. We live in New York. Chase Bank is everywhere. You're more than welcome to just walk into a bank branch and open up an account there. But the iGrad page will just help you with information on what you would need, not um, not directly related to educational expenses, but all your personal expenses as well. And it's a tool that you can utilize, not just during your time at Columbia, but when you leave, when you're more into your professional, you're more into your personal life, you can utilize the iGrad tool to help you out there. So, that's basically all for now. I want to leave you all with our contact information. So if you do have any additional questions regarding any of the information that was listed on here, you are more than welcome to contact us. We are the Office of Student Financial Planning. We're located in 210 Kent Hall. Our phone number, our email address are listed on here. We are more than happy to assist you all and everything. And if you do give us a call, we are available from 9 to 5. I'm currently in the office right now, so if you're around the New York area and you have any questions, feel free to pop on in and I'll be more than happy to help you. And lastly, for any students that are on this call that are military connected, we are also located in the same office. I am a part of both offices, so if you have just general questions regarding regular financial aid, or if you have any questions regarding military connected benefits, such as aid from the VA, Chapter 33, Chapter 31, 1606. Chapter 35, Chapter 30, ROTC, feel free to contact me, and I can assist you in any ways that I can.